leader and experts from developing markets to discuss and share ideas on the future of transportation, and especially about autonomous transport and V2X. Developing countries present massive untapped potential for innovation and investment with growing markets, abundant resources, and hunger of progresses. We decided to focus on 4 topics. Our previous event was about mobility as a service. Today, we're going to talk about autonomous transport. Our next session will be about consumer sodas in public transport. And the last session will be super epic and interesting theme about alternative transport, energy, and public transport. You can see here our program. And our event will pitch session with 30 startups from 10 countries with 10 corporates, and we will see how we'll show and be our future transport. Briefly about our main partner, F-Team, Future Transport Innovation and Innovative Mobility. It's corporate venture capital and innovation platform focusing on transportation and mobility seed stage ventures. F-Team has been working since 2020 and establishing collaboration with public transportation ecosystem in Africa, Middle East, and Central Asia. Today, we will be discussing about autonomous transport and V2X. This technology can revolutionize our usual public transport, creating a safer, more efficient, and more sustainable future for everyone. And additional, we will be hearing from 3 late-stage startups what are addressing this very issue. They will be presenting their ideas and solution to the problem of improving autonomous transport. So I am looking forward to lively and engaging discussion. I am sure we will learn a lot from each other. And let me briefly introduce our today's experts. The first one is Guy Zbarsky, founder of Keep Go Drum and venture partner at Altair Capital. Next one is Hitan Parmar, executive and thought leader, electric mobility. And next one is Balakrishna Gopinath, executive director at Gaze Transport. Our next expert is Mustafa Sanantas, manager at Surat Citylink Limited. And finally, Anna Tevari, Metro Rail System Project at KAC International Ltd. So, and our today's moderator is Andrei Popov, investor and strategy development at F-Team. So, Andrew, mic is for you. We can start our discussion today. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. So, guys, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this discussion today. I really excited to be here today as a moderator and talk with you, the smartest guys, about transportation technologies, mobility trends, and public transportation transformation in general. This is a second in a row discussion within the startup competition, as said Andrew already, and where we discuss with our top expert their unique experience and share insights and technological challenges faced by them in the field of transport and mobility in their daily work. So, hope it will help startups and founders to extend their understanding about specific problems and states in transport deep tech. As a part of our fund, we do a lot of analytics and look at large number of startups that can be applied in transport industry. And lately, we see feel and really trying to touch the self-driving mega trend and see the growth speed of connected cars and connected to everything solution, in other words, V2X technologies. And this state, we really decided to make it clear for every entrepreneurs who already have or have motivation to want to set up a company to develop solutions for autonomous vehicles. So today we will talk about autonomous transport, as Andrew said already, security of transport infrastructure, of course, and connected cars, trains, vehicles, and other kind of transportations. So, but before I begin, I must outline the rules of the game. Yeah. First of all, guys, it's a discussion. And what does it mean? It means that if any of you have any question, just raise your hand and my colleague will signal me and we will share the mic. Okay. So I wish all of us good luck. Let's go. And I want to start with Mustafa. Mustafa. Yeah, turn on your mic.
Yeah, good evening, everyone from India.
Yeah, that's cool. So I have a first question for you. That's really nice to know and share with us the key technologies that's really available and using in developing countries, for instance, in India, to realize some digital transformation of public transport. Yeah, it's your mic.
So first of all, before sharing my thoughts, I would really like to thank the forum for inviting me as an expert to share my experience. Thank Irina, Andri, Andrew for having this platform where I will also be learning from experts. So yeah, I mean, coming back to your question, see, I mean, public transport in developing countries like India, it works in very different way. So from independence, like 1947, when we started our public transport buses, it was very different than what we are delivering now. So previously, there were ticket collectors who were just giving, paper tickets. So we didn't know about, how they are traveling, on what buses they are going. We didn't know about the timing as well. So there were just conductors and all over that. But now the transformation has happened digitally. And so a lot of things has been dependent on technology. So suppose, starting from like we are using, phones. The phones were not there before 20 years, 25 years in India. So we were not, used to all those digital apps and all these things. But in the same way that happened in public transport as well. So each and every, when we talk about my city or maybe in Indian cities, each and every buses are equipped with GPS. So passengers who are traveling in those public transport buses as well are aware about, where their buses are, so that they can, without wasting their time, they can travel from their origin to destination. Time is money. Actually, we believe in saying that. And so, passengers are an important commuters for us. They are the customers for us. And, to make them valuable, it is our duty. And, coming to our vision of our Prime Minister, which says, digitalization. So we are focusing more on digital, how digital we can, pay to our companies, right? So for digitalization also, now mobile applications are there. Plus we have issued, this money cards, right? Like Octopus card is doing, London is doing, TFL is using. So we are also, doing it. And how digitally transform cashless, we can, do the journeys, that is important. So yeah, a lot of things have happened. Some of things I will be sharing in my presentation, and I'm looking forward to speak on those topics. So yeah.
So sounds really extremely amazing. Can you share us the key achievements that you really get during your last transformations?
See, the key achievements which we got So if I talk about my city as well, before 10 years, before 10, 15 years, we were not operating any buses, right? The city was just focusing on making flyovers and, building flyovers and encouraging private transport rather than public transport. So when you talk about any kind of transport, we have to worry about the captive riders, the ones who don't own any vehicles. We have to focus on those sectors. Because if we talk about developed countries, there will be people, there will be public who actually own vehicles, and they don't depend on public transport really to get from one place to another, right? So first is captive riders, right? Second is economics. When you talk of economics, it should be affordable, right? And we have seen over the world, researchers have made this an assessment that if we are spending more than 10% of the income on transportation, it becomes unaffordable, right? So all these things we keep it in our head and then plan our system in such a way that passengers use. So the city, if we talk about my city, we didn't have any buses, we didn't have any sort of public transport system. So from 0 passengers, now we have moved to 2.5 lakhs passengers per day, right? And that is kind of impact that we have made in our city. And we are now operating around 800 buses, and we would be introducing more electric buses, more electric mobility to bring down the carbon emissions as well. So yeah, a lot of impacts we have been made, but these are just 2-3 things which I wanted to share, the major ones.
That's cool. And how do you think your passengers, do they feel these effects according to carbon emission decreasing?
Yeah, it is fascinating. It is fascinating, because it's a good question you pointed this out, because surprisingly we are operating diesel as well as electric buses, right? And for passengers, it becomes very, the journey for them is very smooth when they sit in electric buses as compared to diesel buses. Diesel buses are a bit cranky and, they make a lot of noise, and then, the journey is not so comfortable, as in, the passengers as well as the public which are there outside the buses. And then, you are always, apprehensive regarding the heavy vehicles. So electric mobility is a game changer. They have changed the perception of how you perceive the public transport, and it has made the transformation very well in our country. So yeah.
Okay, and how many electric buses do you have right now on your public?
So currently we have 200 buses. We have 200 electric buses which we are operating, right? And around 600 diesel buses. But by the end of 2025, we'll be operating just electric, because diesel buses, because they are end of the life, they will be slowly phasing out from our public transport fleet. So we'll be just operating electric buses by the end of 2025 year. What the government here has made is they have made electric vehicle policy, wherein they have mandated that all public transport buses will be converted into electric by the end of the year 2025. Yeah.
Sounds amazing, really. So back to some connected features and connected infrastructure that you told a lot to your previous speech. I just have one tricky question about private vehicles. Yeah. So what about private vehicles? Is it possible to connect just usual persons like you and me to general public transportation monitoring system?
It's again a good point. When our city didn't have any public transport system, so just now 35 lakhs two-wheelers are there in Surat, right? We have 7 million population. Around 3.5 million are two-wheeler users. And you can just imagine the quantum of the trips which are made by two-wheeler, and that has impacted the safety feature as well. So it was interesting when we introduced the buses, the two-wheeler sales got down by 18%. So in a way, it was not just 1 year, but thrice or third year or fourth year, it was consecutively which was dipping, right? The sale was dipping. And then we interestingly, we did user satisfaction surveys as well. We asked the passengers that from where you have shifted before public transport, what was the mode which you are, where you are traveling from your origin to destination. And interestingly, around 25% of passengers were shifted from two-wheelers. So they had two-wheelers, right, on their home and in their home. But because public transport is very accessible, it is very safe to travel, it is affordable, right? They shifted from the two-wheelers to public transport, right? And not just two-wheelers. Here there are IPTs as well. You might be knowing intermediate public transport, where in India we do have, auto rickshaws, and they see as a shared mobility. So what they do is basically they will, take 5 to 6 persons, and then they will take the journey, right? They will and they will take the cost which has been there. They will broke up into 6 pieces, into 6%, and so it becomes affordable for them. So around 60% of the commuters were shifted from this IPTs as well. So now we can imagine the quantum, and that is why I always mention about the captive riders. So we always target about the passengers, about the community who are staying, who don't own the vehicles, and then they just entirely dependent on public transport, and for them it becomes important to commute for the economic opportunities as well.
Okay, that's a good point. So thank you. I have to move forward and ask my next question. Anand, where are you?
Yes, hi. I hope you are able to hear me.
I hear. Thanks for joining. So, as we understood, your topics is really about subway, trains. Yeah, it's your key focus, right?
Yes.
So, and I want to ask you a question about autonomous trains on public transport. Is it our future, and how is it far from nowadays?
Well, let me start with the metro train and the regional connectivity, the intercity trains. So these are a reality at this moment in many parts of the world, including the developing countries. And the technology is proven, existing, and it's being used extensively. Most of the places in airport, when we travel internationally, we see from one terminal to another terminal, there is a kind of connectivity with the metro train, and you see driverless. It's very visible. The both ends, there are nobody sitting, and then only passengers moving from one terminal to another terminal. So likewise, within city also, for longer distances, the metro train, the autonomous trains are perfectly in place. It's only some places where this old technology is being used, or some places people do want to continue with the additional employment and keep a kind of a supervisor in the the operating room of the operating cabin of the train. That's where you see some of the operators being part of the train. Now coming back to the mainline railway, the long distance trains. So far, this is not a reality for many reasons, but we all see that all kind of transports are moving towards the kind of autonomous. The most complicated and the most critical one is the aircraft. We all know that it's having, the autopilot, only landing and takeoff are the ones where the pilot come into picture. Rest of the time, they are just like sitting and just kind of having an overview, or just keeping an eye over what's going on there. So long distance trains, in my opinion, is going to be the reality first, particularly when these are all bullet trains and they are operating at a speed of 300 kilometers per hour or more. In that case, operator has got very little to do. Even if he wants to react, it cannot make a difference in the train. So basically, technology-wise, there are no holding back from having a driverless train, autonomous train. It's a matter of bringing the infrastructure and spending a little bit more on that. What happens when you equate the cost of making it driverless vis-a-vis putting one driver in a 12-coach car train? Probably the economics works out to be against going driverless. I think that's what is holding back for the time being. But sooner, you will have the cost of technology going down, and requirements from other different reasons would come out. And I'm sure this is not very far from the present scenario to be completely driverless.
Okay. Okay. So too many real limitations, and it seems to me security problems. So that's why I want to ask you my second question about some cybersecurity challenges according to self-driving trains, driverless vehicles, and something like that. What do you think about this? Because every third people on our planet already a software engineer.
Yes, see that cybersecurity is a concern whether it is with driver or without driver. The difference, I mean, the cybersecurity is equally important in both the situations. So no relaxation can be given on cybersecurity, even if it is with driver. So the point is, we need to focus upon the cybersecurity part of it, and the government has to be one step ahead of hackers. So there are various mechanisms which are being implemented. Systems which can be isolated from rest of the world and keep it, the limited, and a kind of a box can be created. That's one solution which is being thought, but that has a very limited number of applications. For the simple reason, you can't afford to lose GPS connectivity. You can't afford to lose, various instructions coming from the control room, various inputs coming from control room. So for that purpose, internet or some kind of connectivity becomes essential. So the next point is, how do you make your system completely secure? So I think a lot needs to be done there, and everywhere this problem is happening, be it in a hospital, be it automobile, be it transportation, be it power station. So when so many industries are impacted at the same time by one single issue, well, this should be a collective effort to come out of it. At this moment, answer is no, it is not safe. Yet we have no choice than to, continue to operate the way we have the technology. It's to, the mercy of the hackers that, okay, certain part of the world and certain segment of the business have lower priorities for the hackers. That's why they are safe. Otherwise, hacking at this moment is not in the beyond the reach of the other side of the professionals who are working against the cyber security. So I would say a lot needs to be done, but the industry is so huge that it should be possible to have a proper and foolproof method for making the system cyber secure. I think the heuristic technology which has recently developed and which is now in implementation, let's see how it performs and what is its impact on from the hackers on it. And maybe the next course of development will decide on how do we take this situation forward.
I got it.
At this moment, little bit unsafe. Yes.
That's cool. Yeah, I got it. So I had not prepared the next question, but I have to ask because it's about the next generation technologies and some disruptive points. And of course, this question about some blockchain kind of technologies and maybe startups that could be implemented for cybersecurity protection increasing. What do you think about this?
Well, as many technology you integrate with the kind of cyber security, it creates a new pathway for the other side of the people. So I think cyber security in itself is a complete topic without looking into the other angle to it. And once we have it, it's very simple. It's you need to create a kind of electric fence wherein no human can really pass through because if you try, you get some 25 kV or 110 kV shock, something like this. So I think if cybersecurity is not matured at this moment, and it is to be looked at from, I mean, I would say in an isolated perspective for the time being, to take this technology to the next level, then we can see how it behaves when it, along with the blockchain and many other technologies which are being required to be integrated with it. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for sharing your ideas. So, yeah, let's move forward. And I want to take a look on another side of the industry. I mean, venture capital. Guy, it's your time. Yeah, because venture capital funds supporting and investing in different startups. So share with us your some ideas and maybe vision about future according to transportation mobility and general some disruptive direction about that.
Hey guys, thank you for inviting. Hello everyone from Barcelona.
Yeah,
I'm now at the MWC Congress. So it's a lot of innovation here around basically mobility, telecom, and all between. Many startups actually.
Sounds cool. And how the weather there?
The weather is pretty cold actually. It's like 5 degrees at night and roughly 10 degrees during the day. But anyway, the bad news are that whatever is related to connectivity between cars and cars talking with each other and cars talking to traffic lights, we are not there yet. So I know that roughly in 2015, we have been all talking that in 2025, we will be seeing autonomous vehicles, self-driving cars everywhere, and we will be, no more driving at cars and so on. Unfortunately, that's not the situation. I see here still a lot of, I would say, unmatured technology of cars talking to other cars like talking between each other. I see that cars talking to traffic lights and so on. It's still basically in its inception. Yeah. So the bad news are that apparently in 2025 we are not going to drive to have self-driving cars everywhere and at any place. So in that regard, it's a little bit disappointing. I myself just hate driving. So this part is not very big fun, not fun. But in general, what we see here is basically 3 steps in terms of future mobility. First one is global switch to electric cars, electric and basically not hybrid, hydrogen cars. We see a lot of information about hydrogen cars as well, which is interesting. So first step is changing basically the type of the engine to hydrogen and to electricity cars. The second step is really self-driving cars. And the third step is a car as a service. So that's basically how we see the future. First step will probably be in like upcoming 3-4 years. The next step afterwards, and the next step afterwards. Yeah, so that's what we see. What else I wanted to say? Basically, yeah. And then
so, let me just interrupt you. I just have a question about your opinion according to who will win in the future, hydrogen or electra?
It's very difficult to say because every technology has a point. Let's say this way: every technology tries to prove that they are the future. It's very difficult to say, but definitely not our engines as of today. But what I can tell you is that we see big car manufacturers and brands becoming nervous. Like Volkswagen and BMW and Mercedes and even more the basically not high class cars, they become really nervous. Why they become really nervous? Because when we will switch to the car as a service future, yeah, when you have an app and you click on app and the car is arriving, taking you, and you are just going with the car anywhere, you couldn't care less what brand of the car will be picking you up. You don't care if it will be Volkswagen or I don't know what, Kia or Subaru or whatever, right? You just want a car who will pick you up, drop you off after 15 minutes, and that's all. So all those brands they're like really nervous. Okay, what's going on? Like tomorrow, nobody cares if it's Volkswagen or Audi. Or
this
whatever.
Is my customer journey.
What we will do tomorrow? Yeah, so that's they are nervous, and the other type of manufacturers that is nervous is basically buses, because self-driving bus is something in some way useless. When you have car as a service, which like self-driving taxi, let's call it this way, that can pick you up from any location, drop you off at any location, you don't need a bus. And basically buses in some way probably will be outdated like 10 or 15 years from now. Yes. So that's roughly who is very nervous at this conference, bus manufacturers and the car manufacturers. And the most interesting startup I saw in the conference, it's you won't believe it, because when initially I saw it, they're like, what the hell, like that's an awkward idea, but it's interesting. So the most interesting startup I saw here in terms of mobility is you won't believe it, it's Tinder for cars, for self-driving cars. Basically the concept goes as following. When you will be sitting in a self-driving car, going to work, to your vacation, to a bar or whatever, you don't have to drive anymore. And most probably you want a company to go with you. So basically you can find a girl or girl can find a boy that will be sharing a self-driving car like together during a trip. What you will be doing in the car, because it's self-driving, it's your obviously cup of tea. But the whole concept that you can find like a second, like potential dating, like dating in a self-driving car, let's call it this way. And it's, it's like, it sounds funny when you hear about it the first time, but if you think about it, it has a point. They have a point, because basically when the car is self-driving, you have now a lot of time to do something with the time, to kill it somehow. Okay, so yeah, watching movies, it's obviously, but you can think about other ideas, what you can do now with the time that you have in your car. And I think this might be, in the future, this might be like an interesting startup. And I was, once again, it was funny to me at the beginning, but I think they have a point.
And you really think it looks perspective from your side?
Well, you never know what looks promisable or what is not, because once again, if somebody will come to you with an idea of creating social network where you can write only 140 symbols, you'll say it's not a promising idea, right? But it is Twitter today. And if somebody will come to you with the idea of smart glasses, like Google glasses, you'll say it's a cool idea, but you see nobody is using it. So when we are dealing with startups, we never give our opinion about do they have a future or not. We can only say that we believe that they will have this big exit or this small exit. That's what we can tell.
So, okay, my last question about autonomous vehicles. In which areas you personally ready to invest?
Well,
it's your money. Think twice.
No, once again, this one, once again, it's very difficult because when you say you're ready to invest, when you're doing it professionally, it's for how much do I willing to invest, under what terms I'm willing to invest, do they want like a huge amount, giving good terms, not good terms, and so on. So it's not a super correct, but the startup, I give an idea, I think they have an interesting point. And if the terms are good, maybe they should be considered as an investment. Okay,
so thanks a lot. I feel a lot of energy. I hope it's
definitely it's 84. It's 84,000 people at the conference now. A lot of energies here.
So great. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot. I have to move forward. So, Gopinath, I see you. Turn on your mic. Yeah. No options.
Super stylish.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to
We're
meet you all.
just really afraid. We're just really afraid about you because yesterday we was talking when you were driving.
I was not driving. Somebody was driving. I was in the car.
So yeah, as I see, you really have a high quality
No.
driver then. You
How's
are with us.
everybody?
So yeah, I know that you have a really nice case about school buses. So it's your time, just share it the best way.
Well, two things. I see a very young crowd sitting there. An old man sitting here on this side, talking about something which is school bus. So somewhere it isn't right. But I have been in transport for almost 25 years. Ever since school transport started getting transformed in this part of the world. I am based in Dubai. I have served the largest company that did school transport. Currently, I am with a company called Gate Zone. We are a passenger transport and also a trucking company. We are not heavily into school transport. That's why I am here. We are thinking of setting a school transport in a big way. Well, talking about school transport, if you look at Dubai, especially, Dubai has got, I would easily say, one of the best transportation facilities around this part, probably even in the world, because the government has taken so much of interest in this by supporting in all ways. We do have one of the best and the safest operations in this part. One good thing is government also participates as one of the vehicle suppliers. So there is a stiff competition even with the government for a private enterprise. Safety measures, yes, we have been able to probably have best of safety measures, not just tracking, even the training side. See, with my experience in school transport, whatever best you do in terms of technology, vehicle, all that, it is ultimately the manpower that handles this that matters. If you don't have the right people, I don't think school transport will do well because we need a lot of good people and they change the whole industry compared to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So anything anybody wants to ask me, because I will go on blah blah because I've been there. So I keep talking. So I open up.
So maybe I can share some achievements, some really interesting, tricky points. How do you manage your drivers? Because it's two really vulnerable things. It's story about kids, you know.
Yes. See, there, the most interesting thing I can share with you people is 25 years back when I came into this industry in this part of the world, it was my accident. Okay. And then I got into transport. The biggest change you will find is we didn't even have air-conditioned buses here in this part where it is desert and the climate in the afternoon when the child goes up to almost 45 to 50 degrees in peak summer. That is where the government came into picture. They were very, very, very sensible to understand this. They started talking to transporters, getting our ideas on board. Mm-hmm. They made it mandatory that basically all school transportation should go air conditioned.
Yeah.
That was the biggest achievement actually in this part. Then they got inside, they brought in 2008, if I am right, they started implementing the yellow bus. Then they came out with GPS, which could track the buses. There were days when we had buses running 1.5 hours with kids on board from one emirate to another emirate. By the time the child is home, it is, I don't think how they survived the journey. When AC came in, it changed quite a lot of. Then we brought in training systems where drivers were trained very well, both by the government and by within the industry. What I have found is when these men are regularly called for meeting, men and women, sorry, we have also got ladies working in this industry. Both of them, when we started training them, we actually at managerial level, we all didn't know a lot of things that is actually happening. We got in a lot of ideas where we needed to change the bus operations.
Okay.
For example, we didn't even have a mobile phone at that time. So when the bus leaves the yard, there was no way to contact the bus 1.5 hours later when he finishes his trip. You do not know where he has finished this trip. You wait till the bus comes back to the yard.
Okay, Gopinath, sorry, you have a really brilliant mustache, but I have to interrupt you and yeah, and just ask last question about the future, driverless future in this kind of transportation service. Will it work or not? Is it dangerous for kids, or it's more about more freedom?
Just imagine a child who is mischievous and playful sitting in a vehicle that goes by itself. I don't really, maybe I'm an old timer, that's why I said I am a traditional bus operator. Food transport, I didn't really even now know whether it would be safe for being operated by a vehicle which is not manned by somebody. I really, I don't. Maybe my ignorance, but I still feel it may not be reliable.
Okay.
The children per se need guidance. You don't even give a child a mobile phone or an iPad without parental guidance. Then how do we expect a child to travel in a bus alone?
The point there. So cool. Thank you for answers. Thank you. So as I see, we have one more guest, Heaton.
Two more.
Two more. Okay. Heaton from South Africa.
Okay. Afternoon. Hi.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Heaton, it's your turn. Your mic, if you are with us. Yeah, I see.
Afternoon, yes.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
Good, and you?
Cool. So, just share with us your thing and your ideas about mobility trends, according maybe in Africa in general, because it's really interesting for everyone.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Yeah, certainly. You know, as other emerging economies, we see that there's rapid urbanization in these countries for more people moving to cities. The problem with that is that our road infrastructure and the way the cities are built do not cater for the amount of people that are moving into the cities. And this is what we find a challenge in many developing countries for that the traditional infrastructure is not meeting the demands of the
growing
populations that are there. But then that's the one front. The other front now, we're seeing that technology is radically moving to electrification and other forms of new modes of mobility. So it's trying to bridge the two together from that. But we see that we have, especially with the electrification of transport, we've got the opportunity of the energy value chain and the automotive value chain to bridge together in charging electric cars, utilization of electric cars, using electric cars to support the energy system. So it is a massive transformation. I think many leaders in the automotive industry have said that the automotive industry is facing its biggest disruption now in the last century. So this is what we see, huge technology developments. I just caught the last bits of the previous speaker also mentioning that. But also technologies also moved on that, you know, safety systems have moved on from the vehicles. And now the last point of improvement of technology is actually getting rid of the driver. And that's really where we are with full autonomous driving in that space. So, the key thing is that every region, every city will define how fast the uptake is for new modes of mobility. And that's really what it comes down to.
Okay.
Technology is really advanced. So the solutions are there. It's just really within every country and every region on how this moves.
Yeah, sounds interesting. So just personally, for your opinion, what kind of startups just can come over to South Africa and achieve successful?
Yeah, so in a startup space, the key thing is on having a sound product or business case. Once you've got that from your solution, the key thing is then to understand the market. You have to understand the framework in South Africa, what is the political landscape, what is the social landscape, and adapt your product or selling point into that, because that's what's key. What might work in Europe won't work in Africa. Classic example is the bike sharing systems. The model that works there won't work in Africa because crime is really rife. You put the systems down, they'll be here today and gone tomorrow. So, you have to always look at your local environment and see what is the local landscape.
And what are the key trends about local market right now? On the side of growing population, maybe you just need a lot of new micromobility services and something like that.
Yeah, that's correct. So, the key thing in developing countries is affordability. So you can come with great tech and great solutions, but if it's not affordable, you're not going to, get a wider access into the market. So in the innovation space, it's really looking at how do you take your knowledge and insights in innovation to really have a wider reach to a customer base. And then looking at what is available, how do you make it sustainable, how do you make it affordable, but also maintain a business case. And that's what the balancing act for all entrepreneurs is.
Okay, so thank you. Thanks a lot. Time is going up, and we have another guest carrier with us. Don't afraid, just turn on your camera and mic.
It's Carrie Parth. It's about you. He's one of the investors in smart investors in mobility. Hope he's here. Carrie, if you hear us, it would be great if you can share your thoughts.
Yes. Hello. Hi, everyone. Sorry,
Hello.
I'll not be able to share my camera because I'm stuck at a place.
You're in the darkness, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of mobility is a different challenge, and it's all of a different sector. That's what we feel about. We are recently Government of India, we are based out in India, and Government of India has a vision of making this mobility more of a cashless, and the challenges are still what we feel within the cities, they are still working as a silo. Each city builds its own technology, builds in or their own multimodal systems, and that is where we see the fare payment has been the challenge. You see not only in India, you see across the globe. If you travel to India, you travel to different cities, you travel within different modes of transport, you still need to have a different cars, and that is a challenge, and that is what we feel as a biggest problem. How do you get a fare as a unified fare payment solutions? And that is where we normally work, and that is what we try to improvise. Because if you travel to London, you have an Oyster card. We say oh, it's an Oyster card, but when you go to Singapore, your Oyster card does not work, right? You have to again get, and that is a challenge, and I feel that is a level of inconvenience that cost to the people. Probably I take a metro, I again have to buy. So this thinking within the systems are very limited, and that's where we feel we need to be different. And very honestly, we work in India in very small cities, and that is where we started. the technology we provide is like, you know, a city having a population of like a few lakhs, what we say is like 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs, and that is where the real game changing happens, like, you know, a multimodal integration system within the cities and also within the modes. And I think that is where we would be really happy to help people. You know, we'll be really happy to come and help, because transport is not only linked to, you know, when we talk about systems, we talk about you know, getting integrating with like if I want to go and have a cup of tea or a Starbucks coffee, I should be able to have it. And I think that is where with a single unified card, you don't need to purchase a ticket, very honestly. You just tap travel across the city, across the mode, and across, you know, the places. And I think that is what we feel like that's the biggest problem across, like having a, you know, best system would be there, but like how where it is compatible. And that is what I think I feel like, you know, it makes me more happy to, you know, bring such things on board, and, you know, making payment as a easiest solution for everybody.
Wow, thanks. Really sounds like really significant insights. So yeah, I really ready to talk timeless with you guys, but time is going up, and I have to transfer my mic to my colleague Andrew. So thank you guys. It was really amazing discussion today, and I hope all our audience and guests took really nice insights. So yeah, Andrew.
I hope everyone joined this discussion and find some interesting insights for yourself. And actually, we're ready to start our pitch session. And we have 3 really amazing startups with interesting solutions and market records. And just to remind our format, it's 5 minutes to pitch, 5 minutes to Q&A. So we're ready to start, and I see our first startups as Alpha Zima. Guys, you here?
Hi. Can I share the screen? Hello.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. You can start sharing your screen, and if you are ready, you can start pitching.
Yeah, so basically we can pitch and Q&A at the same time, and you guys can watch the video at the same time. So we are from Vietnam. We are staff here, and we are building autonomous delivery robot. And as you guys can see, yeah, it's last mile delivery, and it's fully autonomous as on the video. I will speed up the video so you don't have to wait too long for that. So basically, that's the whole idea. I mean, no matter, you know, what I wish, it's just the product, and we want to drive the cost of last mile delivery down, because currently, at least in Vietnam, in Southeast Asia, it's still very expensive. I work in a company called Grab here. So Grab basically is the Uber of Southeast Asia, and a few years ago, Grab bought over Uber business. And I was the co-founder of the Vietnam entity of Grab. And we know that the cost of delivery here is still too high, and the only way to be profitable is to increase the efficiencies of last mile delivery. So yeah, this is basically the product. I will switch to the pitch deck and go really fast on that. 1 second. Can you see the new screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think just like the topic of this session is we're relating about a futuristic world where everything is being run by robot and autonomous vehicle, and the market is huge. Even autonomous last mile delivery market size, we think it's about 40 billion USD. And like I said, the last mile delivery is still very expensive, and if we can cut the cost, you know, everything price will be reduced. This is the research from McKinsey, and they say that robotaxi in China in 2026, the price of a human will be the same price as the robot, and from then the price of robots will keep going down. This is the product we show you already. So our plan is that we let it run autonomously for about 95% of the time, and the rest of the 5% will be teleoperated, because no matter how smart the AI is, there will be some situation that the AI cannot handle. And in this part of time, we don't want to invest too much, because it will be very costly, and there's a diminishing return. So if you go to from 95 to 96, it's super expensive. But if you replace the last 5% with human, it's going to be cheaper. So it means that if the robot is stuck, it will ask a human teleoperator to take over. So that human teleoperator can be seated anywhere in the world. So basically, a guy in Vietnam can drive a robot like this in America. This is our own calculation. Even in Southeast Asia, within the 2026, the price will be the same, even cheaper than human delivery cost. So we do business model as a robot as a service. It means that we don't sell the robot, but we charge per delivery. And we focus on food delivery first, because this is where there's a lot of higher margin. So we can get a profit from that. So from there, we get the money, and then we reinvest in R&D, and we will build more vehicles so that we can deliver to more type, for example, like e-commerce, parcels, or maybe next day delivery later. The main challenge here is still the legal landscape. Luckily, at least in Vietnam, they're going to open the way for that. And Singapore, they have 3 autonomous zones, and we are going to participate in that. This is our team. We can share with you later if you need that. And we think that in order for this kind of startup to be successful, we have to be strong in R&D, definitely, but we also have to be strong in government affairs capability, because if we don't work with the government and explain to them why it matters, then they will never let us run on the roads. And if we are not allowed to learn on the roads, then we cannot learn. The model, the AI model cannot learn from the data. So this will become a virtuous cycle. These are the stuff that our team has built before. We even have the first level 4 autonomous vehicle in Vietnam. This is me. I'm presenting to the Prime Minister of Vietnam about our product. So this is our government affairs capability. And we have a very good partner too, and we can rent or use for free a lot of equipment at their facility. For example, they have a supercomputer system worth about 3 million USD, and a lot of factory and so on. So we can save a lot of money building this.
Sure. You yeah. Well,
yeah.
Few
That's
seconds. You can finally your presentation. Okay.
Yeah. So it's time for Q&A.
Okay. The question you can ask.
Yeah. I have a question. I completely don't understand your financial model. How much, basically, what is the current cost in Vietnam of delivery? How much are you going to charge for one delivery? How much will cost you this robot one time, and how much you will pay for the maintenance of the robot? How much you are going to pay to all your engineers? But once again, let's start with the basic. How much you are going to charge for one delivery, and how much today the cost of delivery by human?
So the price, we can give you the detailed calculation later, but basically we want in 2026 the price would be the same as a
No. Hold on, 2026. Today, what is the price of delivery today?
It's about as you can see here, 0.3 USD per kilometers.
0.3 USD per kilometer.
Yeah.
So for 10 kilometers, the price of delivery is $3 US.
Yeah.
And how much are you going to charge?
Eventually, I will charge the same price at first. Then eventually, it will go down further.
So you will start from charging 2.5 per kilometer, and then in 2026
I will start at 3 as well. I will start the same price, and then I will go down from there.
Yeah.
So you will start charging also 0.3 per kilometer, and you will go down for there.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is the cost. What about expenses? How much you pay today to the delivery guy for every kilometer? I don't know how long it takes, and how much you will pay for the robot maintenance, human operators that will operate the robot in the 5% and so on.
Sure. There's a detailed calculation I can send you, but basically, at this price, with 7.6K USD. If we can reach this cost, then it will take about 20 to 22 months to recover the cost if you are using a human delivery. So about 22 months of the salary of the guy.
So you will be break even in 22 months.
Yep.
And how long one robot basically can hold till it's broken?
You mean the depreciation period?
Yes, yeah, because robots
about
stay
5 years.
forever.
Yeah, about 5 years. That's what we factor in all the maintenance costs, all the repair costs already. So it will be about 22 months.
I see. Okay, so you'll make money on years 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, great. Thanks, Ant, for your presentation. And yeah, to our next. Oh, yeah, Mustafa, go ahead.
Just one question very quickly.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know, a lot of people depend for the employment on this food delivery. A lot of people, throughout the world are being employed for food delivery jobs. So, there's a dilemma, if you are replacing a robot with, man, or man versus robot, how do you deal with those dilemma? How will you justify it?
I'm not sure what it's kind of problem what they try to resolve. I suppose.
No, but I mean, in just I'm talking about this vision of the company.
Yeah.
Just this is a question which can be answered by anyone.
Oh, sure. And did you get a question?
Sorry, what's your question? Is that what's the visions of the company?
No. My question was, a lot of people throughout the world are employed in food delivery business. So now, what your company basically talks about is to replace human with robots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in a way, the humans will lose their jobs if robots start delivering this food items.
Yes, a lot of people are going to lose their job with this industrial revolution 4.0.
Yeah.
And we have to do a lot to smooth out that process. We have to reskill them. We have to help them. But it's inevitable because no one can resist the efficiency. Everyone wants cheaper stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, we even put it in our constitution that we will set aside 10% of the profit so that we can put in the foundations so we can help to reskill the people.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Mustafa, this is Rajesh. I think it's a good question. And I would just add up that a few years back, most of you guys didn't have a job. So there's a new opportunity that got created. People started delivering. Before this, if you see, there are people who are delivering postal things on skates. So I think people are just going to figure out another one. Yeah. And as things evolve, they will figure out there will be other opportunities. I think AI is coming up. So pretty much many people in the IT sector are going to lose jobs, but there are going to be something new coming up. So I think you cannot stop a technology because of that.
Rajesh, thank you for us. And I have to go a little bit interrupt because we have to go ahead. And our next startup is Safer. And this founder is here. Yeah, Brandra here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks a lot. My name is Birendra Best, and I'm the founder of Safer. I'm just opening up my screen. So let me know if you are able to see it.
Yeah. Okay. We see.
Okay.
So you can start 5 minutes yours.
Sure. Yeah. So Safer works in the space of the driving behaviors of drivers on the roads. We are digitizing the road driving behaviors, the data, and helping drivers become better and better on the roads in terms of safety and in terms of the transportation cost economics. So the background is, the real-time acquisition and the analysis of behavioral data of drivers as they drive on the roads. So I'm talking about the driving behavior. If somebody is there to acquire it and analyze it, that data can create huge efficiencies in transportation. However, traditionally and even today, there has been limited focus on such data points, largely because affordable technologies are not so prevalent. And herein we are in the business of acquiring and analyzing the behavioral data and build valuable use cases. So Safer is a 7-year-old young company, not exactly a startup in that sense. And we are based in India out of the DA. So with that storyline, I'll just talk about the larger problem statements we are addressing. Firstly, as I said, behavioral data, the driving risk behavior data is at the core of inefficiencies in commercial mobility. Our estimate is that in India, about $20,000 of inefficiencies are there on a per vehicle basis if one looks at a 5-year period. The sources of these are first related to the accident-related issues, the costs involved. Then behaviors impact the mileages, and therefore better behaviors tend to bring savings in fuels and also in the assets. All of it is dependent on the driver. So in India, for example, in the last 10-15 years, there have been massive developments on the road infrastructure, and there has been massive development in the safety profile of vehicles. Yet the number of accidents and the inefficiencies have not come down. In fact, they have tended to increase. The one thing missing in the Indian context is a focus on drivers. And that is where we come in. So that's the first major problem statement we look at. The second statement is related to new emerging areas where behavior plays a big role. For example, auto insurance, ADAS, as well as fintech. When you have behavioral data, one can do better quality of understanding of motor risks as well as the vehicle ownership risks. So those are the two problem statements we are looking at. The addressable market in India as of today is somewhere around $125 to $150 million. It's in a nascent stage, but the potential is massive, 40% CAGR. It's expected to rise to $4 billion over the next 8 years. And one of the evidences is that large global companies such as Mobileye, Nectarine, and others, they have started making inroads in the Indian market. They see a potential, and their entry is supporting the market tending to grow at a faster rate. We are well poised to tap this market. What we do, so we are basically an IoT and AI platform for digital mobility in the transportation safety and driver upskilling space. We use technology and data to upskill the drivers. At the same time, we are building the accident-prone location map of the entire country with about 10 million data points to be captured. And today, we may be at somewhere around 25,000 data points of the hotspots. So we are well poised, and there are several use cases we have already in the market. This is a synopsis. We are in the B2B business, and as far as the technology is concerned, there's an IoT device you can see, and then there's an AI model in the backend where 15 parameters are used to profile the drivers, to assess them, and to provide upskilling. Our business model is very simple. It's a SaaS-based model. We don't charge for the devices. It's about $25 a driver a month that we are charging, and for everything. The USP is we have demonstrated massive reductions in accidents with real clients. So there is an illustration over here. For one of the large fleets in India, we have reduced the accident rate from 6% to 3% over a period of 15 to 18 months. And we have been able to further reduce it subsequently.
Okay, then a few seconds to end. And yeah.
Yes, please. We work with several industry players. Large corporates are my customers, whether these are the oil companies or the chemical companies or companies like Amazon, IKEA on the e-com side, as well as tire companies like Seat and Michelin. We have been working with them. They are our early adopters, and we over the next few months and years, we will be growing our relationships with them. The team, there are two founders. I am a BTech from IIT Kanpur and an MBA from IIM Lucknow. These are prestigious institutions in India. And I have about 20 years of work largely on the product and data science side. My co-founder Sushmita is again from reputed colleges in India, and she has worked across IT industry as well as the insurance segments. As a sales professional, I have closed several large ticket deals with during her career and also at Sequoia.
Okay.
Yes, thanks a lot. That's a brief about us.
Okay. If anyone has a question, feel free to ask. Oh, all clear.
Thanks a lot.
Understandable, yeah. And our last startup is Sweat Robots. Sanjay here.
Yes, hi Andrew.
Oh, hello. You can start sharing your screen and
So I hope you can see my screen and the presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Sanjeev, founder of Sweat Robots. At Sweat, we are developing autonomous driving technology that works in highly stochastic traffic dynamics, such as the roads in India. We are doing fundamental and developmental research on all three fronts of autonomous driving, namely perception, localization, and planning. Out of this, around 70% of our research focus on developing novel decision-making and behavior planning algorithms that allow autonomous vehicles to negotiate stochastic and uncertain traffic dynamics, such as on the roads in India. Around 25% of our research effort is in developing novel perception algorithm frameworks that are significantly computationally efficient compared to the state of the art, typically up to 40 times computationally efficient compared to state of the art, allow autonomous vehicles to perceive using off-the-shelf cameras. When it comes to localization, we are developing novel ways to represent maps and integrating that with a planning algorithmic pipeline. So the entire autonomous driving technology stack as a whole becomes much more scalable than what it is prevalent today. So there are four major challenges to achieving a successful and robust autonomous driving technology. These are safety, cost, and scalability. With the current industry practices, it will take at least a decade to achieve these objectives, and some of the blocks over here will take precedence only at scale. On the other hand, at Sweat, we have been aggressively developing autonomous driving technology that significantly shortens this timeline. In a nutshell, to overcome these blocks, if we can develop algorithms that are much more capable in terms of the environmental scenarios that they can deal with, for example, being able to deal with the stochastic and uncertain traffic dynamics that you typically see on Indian roads. So in terms of like capabilities, if we can develop algorithms that are much more capable than what they are today, develop algorithms that are computationally significantly efficient, and also algorithmic frameworks that allow navigation of autonomous vehicle without requiring high fidelity maps, then we can overcome these challenges. And this is exactly what we have been working on at Sweat Robots. We have been developing autonomous driving technology with significantly much more capable behavior planning, emotion planning algorithmic frameworks that allow autonomous vehicles to negotiate stochastic traffic dynamics that you typically see on Indian roads. We have been developing perception algorithm frameworks that are much more computationally efficient. And in terms of localization, we are currently working on the proof concept of a technology that requires only GPS localization over perhaps a crude wireframe representation of the environment. Integrate that with the motion plan decision-making algorithm frameworks, which is predominantly based on a paradigm of artificial intelligence known as reinforcement learning. So our model of autonomous driving going forward wouldn't require high precision localization against high definition maps of the environment, and just GPS based localization over crude wireframe representation of the environment will be more than sufficient for us to perform autonomous driving. So in a nutshell, we are developing technology that is much more safer, that is like being able to deal with the stochastic traffic dynamics such as on the roads in India. It's much more cost efficient, as in terms of like we have been developing algorithms that are significantly computationally efficient, up to 40 times computationally efficient compared to the state of the art. We are one of the 3 to 4 companies in the world right now who have the capability to enable autonomous driving without requiring high fidelity maps. Some of those companies, like for example, there's a Measure in Israel, there's like Wayvia in the UK, and then there's like few handful of startups in the US, for example, like Helme or like some of the examples who are currently working on technology to enable autonomous driving without requiring high fidelity maps of the environment. So over the past few years, I'll just like lower the volume. So over the past few years, we have been developing the autonomous driving technology and directly demoing on Indian roads. So here are some of the autonomous demos that we have done using, as I said, like we predominantly develop motion plan decision making algorithms using reinforcement learning. So here are some of the demos. Enabling autonomous vehicle to execute various maneuvers. Over the bottom right over here, you can see our vehicle navigating at near drift speeds. Sorry, my presentation got stuck.
It looks great anyway.
Sorry about this. My presentation got stuck. Okay, I'll just use a PDF for now.
It's because Microsoft.
You can penalize without presentation, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, like I've been using Windows after a long time. Usually give presentation on Linux machine, so it just crashed. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, got it. Like I have the PDF. Fine. So there are like a lot of demos done directly on Indian roads. Over the lower left over here, you can see our autonomous driving demo. Enabling autonomous driving off roads at night time in dense fog scenarios. You would know like there's a DARPA racer program going on in the US. The objective of that is to achieve autonomous driving at human-driven speed. So we already have a proof of concept of that like technology where autonomous vehicle is being driven over the lower left block over here off roads at nighttime in dense fog scenario. So our go-to-market strategy is like pretty straightforward. We would be licensing our technology to the OEMs, both in the lidar as well as as well in the automotive domain. So until 2025, we would be okay providing the modular technology stack as on a licensing basis. But going forward after 2025, we would be providing only end-to-end holistic solution like an entire autonomous technology stack rather than like licensing individual algorithmic pipelines. So here's a competitive landscape. We are one of the very few companies who is able to make reinforcement work in practice, and we are one of the very few startups who have the capability to drive on and off roads. There are companies who do only on road, then there are companies who only do off roads. We have been doing both on and off roads, and also we have been demoing our technology working on Indian roads directly. I'm Sanjeev. I'm the founder of Swat Roads. I have BTech electrical engineering from IT Roorkee, one of the prestigious institutions in India. After like I've spent eight months in Israel where I was a research assistant to a professor. I'd done like my MS from University of Alberta in Canada in computing science. We currently have 12 engineers on board, and we currently in 2021 we raised $3 million in funding, and with the next round of funding we are targeting a team of 45 with the next round of funding. There are some media coverage. I'll just rest my presentation and open the platform for any questions.
Amazing. So who has a question to Sanjeev?
Yeah, just only one question. How can I test it?
Oh, you can fly down over here and you can take a ride in our vehicle.
Thanks. So no, how it is to test it?
So over the past 5 years, we have done around 52 demos of our technology working directly on Indian roads. You can like go on our website and see like the kind of environmental scenarios that we have done demos in. And I can say to the best of my knowledge, I am not aware of any other autonomous driving company who have dealt with the kind of complexity in the traffic dynamics that we have dealt with. And in the month of August, we are going to execute 100 kilometers per hour autonomous driving directly on Indian roads, one of the most difficult traffic and environmental scenarios for autonomous driving on the entire planet. So that would be another like proof of concept of like we having some capability that other companies do not have. Other than that, other than the safety aspect, we also have achieved like computational efficiency and many of the problems that are realized only at a scale. For example, when we do like to train our algorithms, right? I mean, we have automatic data augmentation pipelines as well, and we have been working on automatic data labeling so that we kill the cost of the development of technology. Like some of these things matter only at scale, but we have been working on those like concepts since the inception of the company.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about street equipment vehicles?
I'm sorry.
I mean street equipment.
What would that mean? Street equipment?
Some cleaning vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, there are like various. So we are primarily an autonomous driving technologist. You see, the technology has to become safer, cost effective, as well as scale up, as well as scalable, right? And then there are like many applications of autonomous driving. What we are working on is developing the core technology that will enable all these industries. For example, some of the customers that we are talking to, they are talking about deploying this technology for defense application. We are currently in talks with some of the very big conglomerates, both in India as well as some of the OEMs abroad, who are talking about like taking our algorithmic frameworks. That's why I say like up until 2025, we are okay providing modular solutions. So there are talks going on. I mean, almost every OEM in India, like be it Indian OEM, foreign OEM, they are currently in talks to license our technology in terms of ADAS solutions, as well as we have currently players who are like talking about deploying our technology for like autonomous forklifts, like off-road applications, as well as in defense applications as well. And I think very soon we would be like showcasing our technology to for application defense sector, since we already have resolved off-road autonomous driving. Now, managing both an on-off-road autonomous driving is a very complex task, both in terms of business as well as in terms of technology. But this is exactly like what we have been like working on over the past few years, and we have like kind of a foothold, a very strong foothold in both the domains. So that's like our technology would be applicable in the defense sector as well. But currently, as of now, we only have raised our first round funding came in 2021. Which was $3 million. We are currently valued at $75 million. The investment came from a Silicon Valley investor in the US. And with the next round investment, like we are currently targeting around $20-25 million to raise to further scale our technology and build a product. For example, you would be aware like Mobileye already has a presence in India. They have like one of their algorithmic components in Mahindra XUV vehicle, and the system works. You can go to any dealership in India and take a ride, and you can see the vehicle will work only in scenarios where you have perfect lane markers. We already have resolved the problem in 2018 where our system works without the presence of lane markers. So this is one of the product which we are currently prototyping in the present funding that we have, and we will have a concrete solution by second quarter this year.
Okay.
So that is one product that would be coming out directly from Swayat Robots and really challenging a company of the stage of Mobileye, which already had like around $18 billion in funding, I guess.
Okay. Thanks for details. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks, Sanjay, again for your session.
Sure. Thank you so much.
So, I just want to say that I love the product.
Oh.
Sure, like you can be your first customer for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm on the way.
Yes, this is all we have today. And this was thanks for everyone what share your experience, thoughts about future of transportation, experts, start founders, and I see what we will taste a really interesting future. So I hope everyone joined our session today. We will definitely share the presentations with all participants. So we will stay on touch. And so I hope we can see on our meeting what will be about consumer services and public transport. So yeah, thanks everyone who decided to join us, and see you later.
Thank you, guys. It was amazing.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. It was great to interact.
Bye.